This here is a special substance. It's best not to breathe it in here. Now I'm lubricating it. We need for it to... It's harmless. Take a look. I'm using my own hand, smelling it. You won't poison me here? No, no, no. They're getting dry. Now I pour out some graphite on it and we get graphenes. A mountain like this. Let's break for commercials and then right away take a look at what we end up with. Scout's honor that we won't touch anything on the table. Please. And we're back. If I may, a few messages. Lilia Arlova from Moscow writes, "My knowledge of physics and chemistry remain at a school curriculum level, but I find this laughable, because you can only convince children of this by putting it in their curriculum." She asks, "What money do you use to carry out your investigations, and what is the nature of the origin of this money from sponsors? Why do you always say, 'I did it, I invented,' when it's likely that many people work with you or assist you? Why don't you talk about them?" Then there was something else here, but I forgot. Listen, I'll find it. There are a lot of good messages. Keep it up. So we carried out those things. Let's bring them back in. And now, dear friends, everyone already knows that a tiny grain of graphite is made up of these separate layers, each of which is a page of this layer. Now take a look. In this box I have graphite. Each of which is a page of this layer. Now take a look. In this box I have graphite. And now these things are completely dry. Do you see it? Yes. You can touch it. It's dry. Dry and hot. I take this graphite. It's warm. I take this graphite and pour it onto this dry plate. My goodness. And so, dear friends and viewers, these are graphenes. By the way, this is how I get graphenes. You can see that it bursts by itself and then initiates a whole pellet. It initiates, it transforms, Here it is. In a second I'll offer it to you. Here it is, mister. Here something else will kick in. See it lying at the end. This here, Mr. Polishuk, is science. Big science. Here's an abyss of science. Do you know why? Take a look. I have about 100 patents. I have 20 hectares on which my unique laboratories. Many of them are deep underground. I think that you'll come visit and see all of it. Plus $10 million to whomever repeats this experiment and produces graphenes the same way. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm ready to make out legal contracts. I'm ready to sign them with anyone in the world, anyone. Zakharov's over there somewhere in American universities. He's in Novosibirsk. Why do you always... He's in America all the time. Let's repeat what you said. So you'll give $10 million to whomever repeats this cold method that I patented. In 1997, the first to use this term. Okay, I'll put it down here. Take a look. One pellet. It wants to work, but it can't. Can I touch it? Or I guess it's probably unpleasant. Why? It's a miracle. You and I are going to eat this and wash it down with water. No. I insist. Right away you'll feel... I need to go to work tomorrow. How will I? Go on. Let's ask Rostislav Feofanovich. Please comment. What do you see? Please, what do you see? If Mr. Tarasov is ready to finance Petrik's projects, then I have no objection. As far as titles are concerned, well, so many great scientists didn't receive an academic title. So many academicians made serious mistakes in science. So in a sense it's a vanity fair. Scientific truth is indifferent to authorities, and I favor an attitude of intellectual honesty, indifferent to individual subjects. I'd rather not discuss people here. I'd prefer to discuss only the scientific side, and I consider that this studio is no place to establish scientific truths. But you don't want to visit to establish it. Nika, regarding funding. I'm a specialist in the early universe theory. On July 18th we're launching Radio Astron. I wanted to find people who would be interested in it. But what can I do? Here the world of truth, where science resides, collides with the world of opinions, where such dramatic problems arise and become the subject of entertaining TV programs like this here. Why do you keep using the word truth? It's beautiful. Nika, may I have a couple of words? Go ahead, Artyom Mikhailovich. Because Parmenides discovered the world of truth 2,500 years ago, and science is based on this, sharply positioning itself against the world of opinions. But when people are given titles, patents, and so on, that's where the world of truth and the world of opinions collide, because people vote there. The truth is right in front of you. Mr. Polishuk, just a second, Mr. Polishuk. This here will be put in a bag and sent to Zakharov so that he can send it to any American university, and if that person has even the 1,000th bit of honor, then he'll show the results. And now we'll all see the American photographs of my material. They were first made in 1998. And will we understand anything in them? We'll see graphenes. For the first time in the world, people will see what they look like. Show the pictures, please, I implore you. Just one after another. Can Artyom Mikhailovich speak at the same time? Yes, go ahead. Speak, please. Together with my partner, Dr. Potyomkin, and a few companies, among them some German and American ones, we offered Viktor Ivanovich to give up this fight, to give him money to start manufacturing his filters and set them up at least in Haiti, where people are dying after the earthquake from cholera because they drink water from puddles. And Viktor Ivanovich didn't agree to that. He didn't take our money and said that it's impossible, that the country should hear about it. What if that went to America and then people started buying those filters from there? I'm here only because I can't be bought or bribed or convinced. You can't do anything with me. I'm speaking here for the truth, and I want this to belong to our country, so that Russia could export these filters to the rest of the world, so that our children could be healthy. Why do I live here? Why did I return twice from immigration? And of course we'll do it. Honor and respect to Viktor Ivanovich for refusing, and as soon as you, Viktor Ivanovich, decide to become a billionaire, a millionaire, don't disgrace yourself. Don't talk to these people. Let them all go into retirement. If you have a small pension, you people from pseudoscience, I'll pay the difference so long as you keep away and don't interfere with the growth of science in Russia. Thank you, that's great. May I now read out loud something about what's just been said? Go ahead, I just wanted to show another clip. The scientific investigation was carried out in accordance with today's Ministry of Defense. This is the most serious Institute of Defense and the Military Medical Institute. Conclusions. This was my dream. I worked on it for many years. How to create something that in field conditions could disinfect water completely. And you're suggesting that we throw that into the water? Today I attach the substance to this graphene, to these peripheral atoms, at the covalent level. It can't be detached. It's here, it's one complete whole, and it's deadly. What's deadly? They did the following. They created 10 to the 6th power per cubic centimeter of bacteria, and wrote that this is characteristic for domestic and industrial water sources. Characteristic, for example, for animal farming facilities. And at the end you read 100%. So in animal farming facilities, 100% purification of water according to bacteriological readings. Listen, today any woman can take water from animal farming and give her weaning baby absolutely clean water. I announce it. By putting this here? No, by passing the water through this. Now pay attention to the next thing. We need to break for commercials. Next, I promise you, we investigated the vaccine. Sorry, what am I saying? A vaccine stamp for anthrax and plague. The density of infection matched the density of infection. They provided 100% purification of water from all the above-mentioned microorganisms. In the epicenter of a biological attack by plague and anthrax. This is our science. These are our achievements. And now let me show you what this is. We need to break for commercials, so show us what this is. Show us. Oh my god. And what will happen? I just cleaned my stomach, and many take it in the trunk of their car, those who go fishing, because after all of that and they're hungover, they drink 3 spoonfuls of it and feel great. I carried out that experiment on myself. Commercial break. We're back on the air. Since today we said a lot about filters and Artyom Mikhailovich talked about it, let's clean some water. And Viktor Ivanovich will tell us that you're prepared to drink it and aren't afraid. But the problem is that we decided not to give you normal tap water, but to look for it somewhere else. Let's watch the clip so that you can see what I mean. If it was once possible to drink water from the rivers of Petersburg and use it in the home, ecologists today tell us that you can't do so now. Due to industrial waste and sewage, the rivers of Petersburg are literally full of chemical substances and various bacteria. Let's carry out a small experiment. I'll try to fill this receptacle and we'll see just what sort of water this is. At first glance, the water isn't very dirty. Now we'll take it to our studio and see what they tell us there. Our correspondent Alexei Spirichev is already here. Is that water from the Fontanka, Alexei? Well, Viktor Ivanovich, you don't drink water from the Fontanka, do you? Just take a look at you. You're the most beautiful person on Russian television. Your intelligent eyes. I'm about to be shamed. Who keeps insisting that you carry out such vulgar things? Listen, I was told that you'll drink any water. What about from the Fontanka? Well, why not take it and send it for analysis? Maybe I'm like that King Eupator who trained himself and I drink all sorts of awful things so that later I'll be able to demonstrate on television. Wait, are you afraid you'll get food poisoning or what? There's a question for you, if you please. Nika, I want to show you this cup on air. I poured sewer water into it just now. I'm drinking it myself, and today everyone at the Moscow editorial office is drinking it as well. Wait, you're drinking it straight from the sewer, or after passing it through the filter? No. First the sewer, then Petrik's filter, which I bought for you on the black market and requested they send it to you to Petersburg as a gift. The most interesting thing I'll tell our viewers. Viktor Ivanovich, you probably don't know, but I passed vodka through your filter. And what did you get? A delicious beverage, remarkable. That's true. It lost all the additives, all the filth. Now I use it with pleasure. And the men who come over as guests say, where was it made? Well, Artyom Mikhailovich, that was blatant advertising, and you as a businessman understand that. But Rostislav Yofanovich wanted to say something. Let's listen. There's no advertising here, Nika, and do you know why? Why? Because you can't buy it anywhere, and because I'm not a distributor. Artyom Mikhailovich, don't you want to cut up the filter? There was a journalist, Varsobin, against us, from Komsomolskaya Pravda. He passed Coca-Cola through it, and the Coca-Cola became colorless, and I was accused that it wouldn't purify more than a cup's worth. But I declare that if there's a filter in the world that will purify a tablespoon's worth, then I don't know either what I'd give for it. Because you see what we were accused of, but he cut up our filter in the presence of everyone. Do you know what for? What for? Because Mr. Kruglikov declared that in the cartridge there's cotton and sand made wet with water. That you pour your dirty water Coca-Cola into it, which squeezes out clean water from the cartridge, and that's the trick Petrik has been fooling everyone with. An academician said that. Let's hear Rostislav Yofanovich. Please, Rostislav Yofanovich. I saw it on TV myself, that lie. Nika, that's actually very important, and I can declare this for everyone to hear. This filter is 10 times more effective than anything else existing in the world today. We, pardon me, carried out a great search all over the world, and today we're still dealing with Petrik. We offer you money, offer you work. Just say good riddance to everything here, once and for all. Allow me to reply, Artyom Mikhailovich. At present, they're carrying out an international, I know that Switzerland is somehow involved, the UN, an international certification of all the filters that exist. They're all there. And as soon as it's announced that I'm the winner, and I'll be the winner, I'll come back to you. I'll find you myself right away. And thank you very much. Rostislav Yofanovich, please speak. Pardon me. We're listening. Viktor Ivanovich, in the conclusions of the Tartakovsky Commission, it stated that specific consumers of your project should give a specific appraisal. Can you tell us which specific consumers gave a positive or negative appraisal regarding the effectiveness of your projects in action? You're probably trying to say by that there aren't such people. I'm telling you. I'm just asking. Today, with the state structure, with the state itself, I'm working on what your commission rejected, which is platinum metals. At present, I've been given a large portion, and I'm using a gas method to get platinoids, and I'm separating them, including platinum and rhenium. That's one thing. For example, the Rosnano Commission, over the course of a year, took up my rhenium project and they're financing it. They put money into it, and a co-investor has already been found and a factory is being built. There you have another example. As far as filters are concerned, I want to tell all our listeners that I signed a contract with that pseudoscience commission, or whatever it's called, sent them the filters with a waybill, which I still have, requesting that they check them. They didn't check them. They declared that in the Russian Academy of Sciences they lacked the means. How many of their departments do you represent? And yet they declared that there are nanoparticles there. That there may be nanoparticles, maybe. And now your attention, this is important. I ask that you please let me speak. I give you 40 seconds because the program is about to end. Rostislav Yofanovich, if I were to ask you what nanotechnology is, what would you reply? I reply, a nanoparticle cannot exist freely in the outside world. That's nonsense. Academic nonsense. It's the ranting of a lunatic. A nanoparticle is so active that it immediately oxidizes. I have 10 machines making nanometals, and God forbid any oxygen gets into them. Immediate ignition. Next, it can't be produced. Why? Because it immediately aggregates down to the last microparticle. And so we pour water. Viktor Ivanovich is pouring water, but I'd like to understand as briefly as possible, gentlemen. Briefly, our guest from Moscow. Rostislav Yofanovich, what should we do with this story? There is a sort of phenomenon with Petrik that's both appealing, but also provokes lots of criticism, and it's not clear how people should react, because everything that gets made into a TV program becomes a show. What should we do? What's your advice? Well, we need another 2 or 3 independent, incorruptible groups of investigators so that they can end this. And that, after all, this is the goal of science, the scientific approach. Thank you. Briefly, please, Artyom Mikhailovich, summarize what's to be done with this, briefly. Summarizing is very simple. You know, I'd like to go back to Lenin. Petrik started with Lenin today for some reason. Lenin in his day said one phrase, and I'll repeat it quickly. Dear friends, have a look. You created a great idea, but we can approach it the wrong way. And that's why no one has doubts about how correct the path is, but overthrow a great idea. Today it's the idea of modernization that the president gave us. If people like this will drag the people there and speak like that, then people will start doubting that idea. Thank you to everyone. Just take a look at the water. You have 1 second. 1. These filters were bought by the studio, not by me. Look at them, and look at the difference visually. Let the camera show it if you want to show it. What is this? It's water from the Neva, and I'm drinking it confidently. And that's where we'll finish today. Of course, we can do what Perelman did and say, I invented it, and I'm not interested in anything you have to say about it. Viktor Ivanovich is fighting for his rights. How this fight will end, we'll find out for sure, and hear all about it more than once. Thank you very much to everyone. Excuses for delaying the next program. After us on air is the scene of the crime.